Welcome back to Now You're Cooking with Fear, and today we'll be making hamburgers. So first, we're going to begin by adding some of these seeds because, burgers have seeds in them, right? Alright, there we go. Perfect. Begin with this. Weeman. No one trusts the brand, so you gotta have it in one section too. Alright, there we go. Now we just cook it for about 4 minutes. Have fun. How is it on fire? I only had it on 4. Man, I really gotta stop doing this in my apartment. Maybe I just need some advice. I mean, Netflix seems to be pretty successful adapting different things.
Well, you see, I'm not talking about their originals. Rather, their interpretations of well-loved properties. Specifically, animes. They range from okay to...
In his words,
you'll never know true power until you've tasted the testicles of a man who's wronged you.
It's like, hey kids, do you like Metal Gear Solid?
Yeah!
Go, just let me see that for a second.
Okay.
Perfect. Now here's the Netflix adaptation. Have fun! With adaptations of Avatar: The Last Airbender and One Piece on the way, I figured what better time than now than to look at the first Netflix adaptation, Death Note. For those that aren't in the know or just don't care, Death Note is an anime about a high school student named Light Yagami who comes across a book called a Death Note that allows him to kill anyone as long as he knows their name and face. He's followed by a Shinigami known as Ryuk, and Light takes upon himself to be judge, jury, and executioner, taking out anyone who breaks the law, except for himself. Which eventually draws in the attention of the police and the world-famous detective known as L, who is hell-bent on figuring out who's killing all these people by any means necessary, with most of the series following the cat-and-mouse game between Light and L as both of them try to take each other out. However, Netflix didn't just pick a beloved series to butcher by random. You see, Hollywood had been trying to make an American version of Death Note for years, dating all the way back to 2007, with the most interested party being Warner Brothers. They went through directors and cast almost every other week. One version even had Zac Efron as Light.
God, I wish I was in that timeline.
Eventually, Adam Wingard, director of the underrated You're Next and the fun Godzilla vs. Kong, took on the mantle of ruining a classic, directing the movie. He stated this would be an American version of Death Note. And if you can't see the red flags already, then boy, this next statement should put you on DEFCON 1. His exact words were, "It's one of those things where the harder I tried to stay 100% true to the source material, the more it just kind of fell apart. You're in a different country, you're in a different kind of environment, and you're trying to also summarize a sprawling series into a 2-hour-long film. For me, it became about what do these themes mean to modern-day America, and how does that affect how we tell the story?" This translated to mixed reception from fans upon the release of the trailer. But that's just a trailer. Plenty of great movies have horrible trailers. So, did it work? Did they pull it off?
Fucking no? What, are you mad? Alright, let's see where it all went wrong in Netflix's Death Note.
So, Light Turner, who looks more like a teenage boy than a Light Yagami, but whatever, because he comes across a mysterious book called the Death Note. So far, so good. He then sees someone getting bullied and tries to step in. He tries to reason with the bully, but fails. A teacher finds him and the homework he's been selling to others, and they blame the victim here, and they proceed to give him detention because of that whole cheating thing. In detention, he pulls out the Death Note and gains the ability to see the owner of the book, Ryuk, who is one of the few characters they actually get right. He literally acts exactly the same as he does in the anime, and is played by Willem Dafoe, who is perfect for the role, sounding almost exactly the same as he does in the show. He's easily the best part of the movie for the 3 minutes he's in it. Light reacts like a normal person would, all while Ryuk is encouraging him to go on, have fun, kill some people, what's the harm? In fact, here's the guy for you right now, that bully Kenny who beat him up, and so Light writes his name in the book, and his method of death, decapitation. That causes some kids to drop a ball that rolls into the street, causing some cars to crash into each other, and a ladder flies off one of the cars that f***ing decapitates him. Holy sh**. I thought I was watching Death Note, not Final Destination. After coming out of a completely different movie, Light heads home to his father, James, who works at the police station, and they're not doing so good. Ever since Light's mom got killed by a guy named Anthony Scommel, they've been distant. So Light decides to go up to his room and reads up on the rules, like how even a single page has the full power of the Death Note, or anyone can use it, but only the Keeper can have it for more than 7 days. Ryuk then shows up and, hey, at least this isn't the last Airbender situation because they at least got the names right. He explains how they can manipulate people for up to 2 days prior to their death, and can choose the manner of their death as long as it's physically possible. Sorry, no getting crushed by your massive wall of Pop Funkos, you. Damn it! As for Light, he decides to serve up some vengeance to his mother's killer, who ends up getting stabbed through the neck by a steak knife after a waiter trips. Look, I like the idea of this scene, but I just don't think it works in Death Note. Light in the original was cunning, manipulative, and would plan 5 steps ahead. Even in the beginning, when he had no idea this was real, just to be cautious, he killed people that he had no connection to, so as to not arouse suspicion from the police. This Light just isn't thinking about how this would affect him down the road. Look, to put it shortly, Anime Light would have a field day with this wannabe. The next day, his father informs Light of the good news.
Holy shit. Yeah. You seem happy.
Probably shouldn't be, but yeah, I am.
Yeah! That guy! A man just died! But it brought the family closer together. Aw, that's nice. He goes to school and brings the Death Note with him? You are terrible at not being a suspect. This man literally has a book that says Death Note out in public. Like, why? He's not even using it. Then this girl named Mia approaches him and asks about the grisly details of Kenny's death, and then asks the most obvious question.
Death Note? What is it?
What is what?
Your book?
I can't tell you.
Okay.
Do you really want to know?
Sure.
Okay, then I'll tell you.
What? Why is he confessing to a person he doesn't even know? So he decides to prove it to her by writing this guy's name in the book. And apparently his body is made of string cheese or something because he gets destroyed by this truck. Strangely enough, Mia is cool with this, and they both decide to change the world. This man really just showed a Death Note to a girl he's known for all of 5 fucking minutes just to get laid. Honestly, they should just change it down to, hey, wanna and literally nothing would change. They wanna be God. Their words, not mine.
So let's give it to him. Let's give him a god.
Also, I hate this stupid fucking scene where they choose their name.
Kira.
Kira? What does that mean?
It actually means light in Russian and Celtic.
Well, wouldn't you be worried that they could just trace it back to you then?
No, could they? It also sort of means killer in Japanese, so if they're gonna be looking for him, it's gonna be on the wrong continent.
You see, in the original, it was the name that was given to Light by the public rather than them being complete fucking morons. And the half-ass callback to the original really doesn't help. Anyways, they spread their message by having criminals write that Kira is back, and they take down any criminals they can see. To help with this, they hack into the police database to find more criminals, which is probably the best part of the movie. Just them going around killing these criminals, it's okay. For all 2 minutes of it. Yeah, they elected to skip past Light and Mia becoming Kira, spreading their influence and becoming more psychopathic because, come on, that would actually be interesting. And this movie would much rather spend its time on pointless high school bullshit instead. Like, ooh, what is Light gonna wear to the homecoming dance? After a massacre at a nightclub, Elle decides to get involved in the investigation of Kira. Alright, so how are they gonna f up Elle? Surprisingly enough, he's actually relatively accurate to his anime counterpart. Despite a few hiccups throughout the film, he manages to remain mostly faithful, even taking up some of the mannerisms from the anime version of the character. Alright, you got a point. Against like 10 other negatives. Anyways, Elle planted criminals' names hoping for a hit, and thanks to the massacre, he knows exactly where Kira is located now. The next day, Light's father tells him that he's joining the Kira investigation, despite Light's protests and the fact that most of the station is adamantly against going after Kira because 1, he's making their jobs a hell of a lot easier, and 2, I'd imagine the rest of them are afraid of going after him due to the seemingly random nature of his attacks. James gets a call from the FBI stating that someone wants to speak to him about the Kira case. Then right on schedule, Elle's representative Watari shows up and tells him that Kira is involved with the police in some way, and Elle would like to work with him. He's specifically choosing him because he feels he has a better idea of potential suspects. You know, this random ass guy from Seattle. Elle tells him that the name Kira is a diversion meant to draw suspicion away from the actual first killing, that hostage guy from earlier. Which I guarantee you. That was not Light's intention with the name Kira, only a happy accident. Elle determines that Kira has access to the Seattle police database, and he's made a list of people who have access to that database. Meanwhile, Mia and Light find that they have a website from their followers of potential criminals for them to take care of. Mia wants to kill them all, but Light is like, no. What if some of those people are innocent?
Dude, that ship sailed like 300 deaths ago.
Suddenly, Elle decides to hold a press conference where he says that all the previous victims had their names publicly broadcasted and calls Kira out on his bullshit and tells him to go on and do it. Kill him! Except Light is literally unable to kill him, and now Elle is onto him. This only proved to Elle that Kira needs a name and a face to kill someone. James is getting closer to figuring out who Kira is, and he tells Light that he's working with Elle and his handler Watari. The next day, Elle sends a tail to follow Light because James doesn't even want to consider that his own son could be a suspect.
He's a kid.
Yes. A particularly bright kid.
I don't know about that.
Light and Mia decide to talk shop in public while being followed by the FBI. Jesus, how have they not been caught already? Mia wants to kill him while Light thinks they should just let him be because if they killed the agent following Light, it'd be obvious it was him. So she's like, well, just kill them all then. But Light says that's mean and to just forget about it. So the next day, the assistant director dies of a heart attack and the rest of the agents go free-falling off a building. Light is convinced that Ryuk killed the agents while Mia's like, it's fine, whatever. Ryuk tells him he's not on any side and to just pass the death note on. But when Light threatens to kill the god of death, yeah, right. Ryuk warns him that he won't be able to write his name in the note fast enough before he strikes Light down, so Light leaves. Later, when Light's father appears on a news broadcast, Mia wants to kill him, but Light obviously doesn't want to.
We're not killing my dad! Mia, this is over. Ryuk this, we're not the good guys anymore.
Let's be honest, were they ever the good guys?
They have some petty teen drama for a little bit until she leaves and James heads back home. Meanwhile, Elle figures out that Light is Kira and meets him at a coffee shop. Took him long enough. He asks, was it hard to spare your father?
Do you really think that I'm Kira?
No, I know it.
Well, if you're so sure, then why have you just arrested me?
Oh, because I don't do check lights. Only checkmate.
He knows. He f***ing knows. And what doesn't help is that Light is the worst liar ever.
When that doesn't work, Elle just lets this f***ing idiot dig his own grave until he straight up confesses. What?
So you really have no idea, do you?
Well, I have several ideas.
What if it turned out that all arresting Kira did was give that power to someone else? Someone potentially much worse.
You're suggesting the ability is somehow transferable.
I'm suggesting that maybe what you and the person you're after want isn't so different, and maybe they're as ready to see the killing end as you are. And if that were true, perhaps now would be a good time to start helping them instead of hunting them.
I miss when Light was smart.
He heads back home and Mia's there ready to apologize to him.
I'm a cheerleader, Light. Nothing I do has ever mattered until I met you.
You've only known each other for literally a month. What the hell are you talking about?
Light decides to make a move against Elle by taking control of Watari by making him obsessed with finding out Elle's true name. He will die in 2 days, but Light doesn't intend to kill him because if he burns his page before the time of his death, he'll be free. He decides that his method of death is up to Ryuk, and he makes him call Light on his personal phone, and this dumbass doesn't even bother to disguise his voice. Watari doesn't know his name, but he reveals that Elle is part of a super detective program, and Watari sets off to go find Elle's true name. Mia argues that leaving him alive will just be a loose end because 1, he knows Light is Kira now, and 2, has his personal phone number because Light is somehow thinking both 1 step forward and 2 steps backwards. Elle shows up at Light's house and Mia scrams. Elle is furious over the disappearance of Watari and announces that Light is Kira, but James refuses to believe it. But Elle already has the police outside with a search warrant. The police find nothing, and Elle keeps an even closer eye on Light's actions, looking for the smallest slip, and Light is just contacting Watari out in public who still hasn't found anything. Turns out Mia took the death note, and they decide to lay low and attend their high school homecoming dance. Watari, meanwhile, finds Elle's true name, but Light can't find Watari's page. Just as Watari is about to tell him the name, these armed guards show up and...
I am Watari.
Sorry.
What kind of fucking reaction is that? They find an unarmed man and they just gun him down? Light is upset that Mia is more like Light than Light is. it's revealed that, shocker, she killed the agents. I know, the agents didn't see that coming. Not only that, but Mia wrote Light's name in the book. He'll die at midnight, and she won't burn his page unless he gives her the book.
There's so many f***ing rules.
There's really not, though. Like, what are you going on about? Only wait, can't Light just burn the page himself because he's still the keeper and he has the page with his name on it? But that would be smart. This is Netflix Death Note, where all logic went out the door about an hour ago. Elle finds out that Watsuri is dead and is on the warpath for Light. The police are after Light because he's the worst serial killer ever, or at least the worst at hiding it. And he and Mia plan to meet at the Ferris wheel. Elle spots Light and chases him with his Men in Black gun. They have this really drawn out chase where apparently in detective school they taught Elle parkour as he does these really elaborate moves. And faceplants this poor guy into his own soup. Eventually, Elle catches Light, and Light just straight up explains to him how it works.
Wait, you need to understand how it works, okay? Or you can't stop it. I couldn't stop it. Death gave me handed it through a fucking calculus book.
Then, random bullshit comes to save the day as this random guy knocks out Elle after finding out that he's arresting Kira. Light rushes towards the Ferris wheel with Mia for one last ride before he inevitably ends up in prison. And Light shoots the control box, locking them in. Light tries to reason with Mia, but she won't budge, and really wants to fucking murder people. She goes for the Death Note, but this was all part of Light's plan because he wrote her name in the Death Note. This causes the Ferris wheel to collapse, and Mia falls to her death while Light falls into the water below. This also causes the page with his name on it to fall into a trash fire below them, except that's not how the Death Note works. Like, I get that there's Final Destination rules and all, but how is it able to manipulate this random piece of paper that has nothing to do with her death? Back at the school, he got a piece of doctor to be there, waiting to pull him out of the water, and revives him. He then has the doctor keep him in a coma for 2 days, before having him jump to his death. The next part of his plan involves a pedophilic mailman who grabs the Death Note and writes in the names of criminals to keep up the appearance of Kira. He then returns the note to Light before killing himself. He reveals all this to his dad, who just found out that Light is Kira all along, seemingly out of nowhere. Not only this, but his dad is super chill with it being a mass murderer. He almost kind of looks proud of him. This causes the police to think that Light isn't Kira and causes Elle to get kicked off the case. As he's about to get on his flight, he remembers something Light said and ends up finding a page of the Death Note over at Mia's house. The movie leaves off with Elle debating with himself if he wants to use the power of the note to kill Light, and Ryuk is just sort of standing there, laughing maniacally. Well, after watching this adaptation, many things were left up in the air, like, will Elle use the Death Note? What will Light's father do? And how the hell is Netflix still making these damn things? Oh. Carry on then. Look, I'm not gonna say that this is the worst movie of all time, but dear God is it bad. Even if you take away the Death Note IP from this, you still have a rushed mess that doesn't give enough time to flesh out its characters, and as a result, most of the characters barely resemble their anime counterparts. Light just isn't smart or ruthless enough to be Kira. Ironically, the creators have said that they gave a lot of Light's psychopathic tendencies to Mia. Instead of, I don't know, making Light, Light, they just decided to give all of his core characteristics to another character, which is why she's so much more like Light than Light is. And poor Light here is left with nothing to do but to pout his way through his own movie. Maybe it was a move to try and make Light more sympathetic. Like, come on, we have to make our mass murderer widely marketable, of course. That strategy seems to be going great for Netflix. Plus, it doesn't even focus on some of the most interesting parts of the story, like them forming their ideology and people conforming to that ideology. You get 2 minutes of that and like 30 minutes of pointless high school bullshit. Half the time, this feels like the Death Note porn parody. And now there are positives. 3 to be precise. The gore looked good until they dropped it faster than Light dropped Mia. And the actors all did a good job with what they were given, especially Willem Dafoe. By God, he did not deserve to be in this movie. Lastly, the cinematography looks gorgeous. I love some of these shots, and when they get crazy with the colors, oh God. It's just a shame they're wasted on this movie, though. Who knows, maybe they can iron out the issues in Death Note 2, because whether you want it or not, by God, you're getting it. Alright, now that we've analyzed what appears to be Netflix's formula for success, why don't we try it for ourselves? So first, we gotta add in just a smidge of bullshit. Then let's just add whatever I have flying around. I found these. Alright, there we go.
Alright, so just start it and